Once again, this is the Hardwood, and today we have An Idiot's Guide to Coaching or the Tyrone Lue Basketball Experience. As you've probably seen in the previous videos in which I've posted, I've already picked the Warriors to win in 6. I said the Warriors will win the first 2, the Cavs will win the 3rd, the Warriors will win the 4th, the Cavs will win the 5th. The Warriors will win the 6th. Close out in 6. That's what I've said. I've said this from the gate, from the beginning. You can look at the other videos, and you'll see that I'm consistently saying the same thing. Now, could I have known that Draymond Green would be getting suspended in Game 5? I had no way of knowing this. None at all. But as far as I was concerned, it didn't matter. Cavs were going to win Game 6. I'm pretty sure that beforehand, anybody that heard me saying this or seen any videos or came across me in real life saying these things, they probably would have thought, oh, the Warriors aren't going to lose a chance to close it out at home. And they would probably have been definitely against me on this particular subject. But Draymond Green, he's been suspended. I had no way of knowing that. But I did pick for them to lose this game on Monday. After the last game, I was hearing all of these people on TV, all of these commentators, all of these analysts, all saying Golden State, they planned it, Golden State to close it out on Monday. Everybody was saying this. I have consistently been saying it's going to go to 6. I'm not saying they don't know what they're talking about. I'm just saying I'm pretty good at this right here. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway. The problem that the Cavs seem to have is IQ. Basketball IQ. Basketball IQ isn't just, there's different types, in my opinion. Okay, you have the basketball IQ of an actual player. When you're on the court, the things that you see and how you react. How do you know what's going to happen when you could see things developing? That's the basketball IQ of a player. Like when you play in football and you have a guy, he's a wide receiver. His wide receiver IQ, his cornerback. I'm going to use cornerback as an example. His cornerback IQ will be different than somebody who plays linebacker. Because somebody who plays linebacker and somebody who plays cornerback got to look out for different things. But if you have the ability, if you're a cornerback and you have the ability to have a linebacker's IQ and a cornerback's IQ, they might move you to safety. There's different types of IQ when it comes to sports. So there's the player's IQ. Let's say a basketball player. Now we're going to go to basketball. There's a basketball player IQ. Then there's the coach's IQ. So now you can have a really high basketball IQ and then not have a really high coaching IQ. The proof of that is how many basketball players do we see that were really good basketball players that try to move into the coaching realm and they fail. They're just not good at it. That's because playing on the court, their IQ is very high or reasonably high, while coaching, their IQ is much lower. So now you have LeBron James, who has a really, really high playing IQ. His IQ as far as playing goes is very, very high. Remember, this is the same guy that Kyrie Irving was supposed to come out the game last year. And when Kyrie Irving was coming off the court, he turns around and tells Kyrie to get back on the court. Remember? That happened. This guy, he has a high basketball IQ, but his coaching IQ is just not as high. So now, let's go through quarter by quarter. I'm going to make this really, really quick as far as talking about the individual quarters so I can talk about the overall. But we're going to go quarter by quarter. First quarter, both teams came out strong. Cleveland came out stronger. They were disrupting everything, just like in the previous game. They were disrupting everything that the Warriors was trying to do. But the problem with this game is, instead of JR being hot and Kyrie being hot, only Kyrie was relatively hot. JR hit a couple of shots and he cooled off. I think he was like 5 for 10 for the game. Kyrie went, I think, 14 for 28 for the game. He shot 50. Both of them shot 50. But they needed more points. You needed more shots from JR. So you have the game starting. They're playing. They're disrupting what the Warriors want to do on offense, but they're not able to take advantage like they were in the previous game. So the game stayed close. So the second quarter comes. When the second quarter comes, Warriors didn't really make any adjustments yet. The only thing different that the Warriors did from the second quarter, from the first quarter to the second quarter, was time management with players. In the second quarter, I believe he put in some dude at number 40. I don't know his name. He put number 40 in when he was taking out one of the bigs because they wanted to stay fast. So they took out one of the bigs and they put number 40 in because he's a quicker, I think they said he was a power forward, but he looked kind of small to be a power forward. But, you know, he was standing next to LeBron, so he could have been a power forward. LeBron is huge. So this did two things, in my opinion. The first thing it did was that was something that Cleveland was not expecting. You see, when you are game planning and you should always have, okay, we game planning to beat a specific team. These are the things we want to do, and we want to go from this point, and we want to get to here. Whenever you are game planning, you have to have, this is where we want to start, and through the course of the game, we want to make sure that we make these 2 or 3 adjustments so we can get by the fourth quarter or by the fourth period, depending on what type of game it is, or by the third period, depending on what type of game it is, we can get our team to this spot of play. You know, you're not going to start the game playing and end the game playing the same way. You want to have a gradual shift. You know, you want to start playing one way and you're going to make a couple of changes. So by the fourth quarter, you're playing a certain way. Cleveland does not do this. Cleveland starts the game playing one way. They try to end the game playing that same way. They just, if the East was not so weak, they would not be in the finals. The East is just weak. That's it. And that's why I think that it would be Kevin Durant's best interest to come to the East, because he will be guaranteed a berth in the Eastern Conference Finals. Anyway, don't even matter what team he goes to. He'd be guaranteed a berth in the Eastern Conference Finals as long as he goes to a reasonably good team. They're going to be so much better with him. So what Steve Kerr did was Steve Kerr made an adjustment that there was absolutely no way that the Cavs could have seen it coming. He put a guy in the game who they would have never thought would have been put in a point in the game that they never would have thought this guy would have been put in the game. And he played pretty well. Number 40 played pretty well. He did not get abused. I mean, LeBron caught him in a couple of one-on-ones, and Kyrie caught him in a couple of one-on-ones. They were switching. They was screening and making sure that they could get him caught on one-on-ones, and they was trying to go at him, and he held his own well, decently. He held his own pretty decently. So now, from the first to the second quarter, Kerr made very, very tiny adjustments. That right there I would consider a big adjustment because that is something that the other team absolutely didn't see. Then the fourth quarter comes, and what does Kerr do? Third quarter, pardon me. The third quarter comes, and what does Kerr do? He plays Varejao. He played Varejao. Varejao came in, gave him energy off of the bench, and that kind of got them out of the doldrums, because they weren't playing as hard. And then they started and they switched up their play. And then what else did he do? He started having that's the fourth quarter. So he threw Varejao in, and that just kind of, when Varejao comes in, you play different because of the way he plays. They had the one possession where they had like 4 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, one possession. And Varejao didn't grab them all, but him being there, running around, jumping, doing all types of stuff that he's doing, throwing his body around on the court, he allowed for them to be able to get It was like 4 or 5 rebounds on one possession until they got a basket. What adjustments did the Cleveland Cavaliers make? None. They made 0 adjustments. 0. Now, during the game, they went to break, and when they go on the break, they was in the coaches, and they was saying the coaches are like, we got to play harder, this and this and that. So the commentators made point to say that whenever they are in the whenever they put the stuff on, the clips on TV about what the coach is saying to the players, they can't say anything that has to do with strategy. The only thing they can really put is when they telling the guys to play better, play harder, we could do this, this, and this and that, because they don't want to put strategy out there, because you'll be giving away the guy's game plan. And that's not fair. But there is no game plan in there. They're not doing anything. LeBron James and getting rid of a coach who actually drew up plays got himself a coach who doesn't do anything at all. There's no adjustments. So now, and even if you looked at my Twitter live, my Twitter timeline, you see, I even said it. I said before the second quarter ended, I said if they don't go up big before the third quarter, they lost. Because what does Warriors usually do every game that I've seen this year? No matter how they play in the first half, the halftime adjustments usually push them just so far ahead of the other team. They make great halftime adjustments. What did this dude do? No adjustments. Warriors is over there making adjustments. So now they put Varejao in. And when they put Varejao in, that changes the offense. So now they went from their regular motion offense, where they just running screens and then they running back doors. Because what they do is they screen and then they run that screener into another screener, and then they run they set 2 or 3 screens at the same time. So you don't never know who's coming off. And when the person comes off of the screen, it's the guy with the balls, whoever he decides he wants to give the rock up to. So you're gonna have 2 guys jostling. He's going to be setting a screen. Then while he's setting the screen, he's going to be looking over the guy he's screening shoulder to see the other guy come that's setting the second screen. So now you already got 2 guys down there. One guy is screening for another guy. Then you have a third Warrior come over and screen the next guy. When that third guy comes over and sets the screen, the other 2 guys break. A pass is given, somebody's open. This is what the Warriors do. But when Varejao came in, they changed up that strategy. And what they did was they ran more of a normal screen and movement. Because Varejao is so active. So they ran a different type of movement. Like their movement changed. Like I got it on tape. I could go back, I could look at it a little bit more and explain it to you. But their movement changed. Now, for those who don't play that much basketball under the whistle, that much real basketball under the whistle, under the clock, when you're playing against a team for 2-3 quarters and they fall into the habit of doing certain things, and you fall into the habit of trying to stop them from doing those certain things, and then all of a sudden they start doing something totally different, but it's the same thing that they have already been doing, that's hard to stop. It's easier to stop somebody who's doing one thing and then switch totally to something totally different, because it looks different. It's like, to bring the football analogy back, it's like if you going against a team and they've been running the I formation all day, and then all of a sudden they switch from the I formation and then they go into some kind of running gun formation, maybe a pistol. Maybe they go into a pistol formation, or a pistol, for those that don't know, is like a short shotgun. Or they go into a shotgun formation with 2 backs. It's easier to switch up and then defend, because it's so much different than what they were already doing. But now, if you have a guy in that same I formation, and now instead of having a tight end at the end of the line, right? They go and put their tight end off of the line and stand them up. And then just no tight end. Then another wide receiver. It's a tiny change that might not seem the difference, but you're going to have your same personnel out on the football field. You're not going to bring in your nickel backs or your dime package or your nickel package. You're going to have the same formation out there. So now you're going to have a linebacker trying to cover that wide receiver. And then don't be stunting, because now if they're stunting, then you probably got a lineman trying to cover that wide receiver. A little change is much more difficult to defend against than a big change. So what they did when they brought Varejao in was they had a little change. They didn't run the same offense, but they ran the same type of offense. And that allowed for them to now get quicker cuts to the basket and more open jump shots out. They pulled away. Varejao comes out the game. The Cavs somehow adjusted, and it wasn't an adjustment that came from the bench. I think it was they just adjusted on the court. I don't think it came from the bench. I think that just the players on the court adjusted. Fourth quarter, they bring Bogut back in. Now they have Bogut doing what Bogut is supposed to do. Bogut's main thing is to be the screen up for Curry. Anybody that watches any of the games before the finals, Bogut screens for Curry. That's why Curry is wide open. That's why Curry gets stuck with centers on him. Bogut screens, the guard can't get around him, Curry kills. That's what they went to. That's their thing. That's their ace in the hole. That's their joker. That's their Nas. That's their turbo button. Big Bogut screening little guy. Curry comes down, catch and shoot. Curry comes around, catch and shoot. That's what they do. Period. They saved it for the fourth quarter. First quarter they played one way. Fourth quarter they played a totally different way. And it was a gradual change. In my last video, I made a point to say that I basically said all of this was going to happen. They were going to play the first two quarters basically relatively the same. There was going to be an adjustment in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter there was going to be a final adjustment. Same thing that I said from last video. Same thing that I said. And I also said it will be in Cleveland's best interest to not play LeBron that much early in the game, so in the fourth quarter he could play the whole fourth quarter and be fresh. It's not that he can't play the whole game because he's a world-class athlete, but you want him fresh. So what you want to do is the first two quarters, don't play him cut his minutes a little. Third quarter, cut his minutes a little. Fourth quarter, he could be in there and he could go at it. What do the Cavs do? Kyrie, LeBron, and JR played every second half minute, I believe. Every second half minute. Besides the fact that the Warriors just have a better team. They just have a better team. There is no doubt about this. Their team is better. Besides the fact that Warriors just have a better team, the Cavs have not. The Cavs coach isn't very competent at coaching. He doesn't understand he's a head coach. This is why people go and sit on Greg Popovich's bench. This is why. It's something to be sitting on Greg Popovich's bench. Watching, learning, understanding. A coach is there for motivation. A coach is there to draw up game plans. And a coach is there for adjustments. If you cannot do all three of those things, you do not need to be coaching at the highest level of any sport. If you can't motivate the men, if you can't draw up a game plan, and if you can't recognize when you need to have adjustments, The best adjustments are proactive. The best adjustments are the adjustments that you know that you're going to make before the game starts. Those are the best adjustments. When you're playing in a game or your team is playing in a game and you get to the second quarter and the other team is doing some crap that you had no idea that they were going to be able to do or that they were going to do, then that means that that coach has not been doing his job. Tyronn Lue should not only be fired. He should have never been hired. Being LeBron James' friend gets you a lot. I understand it. LeBron James just want to have his friends around. He just want to play with the people he like. He just want the coaches around that he like. He just want the people around that's going to tell him he's great. He only want the people around that's going to look up to him and say that you the best. But having people constantly telling you the best, that don't always get you where you got to go. And where he got to go, okay, as far as LeBron James' actual game that he played an okay game. At the end, he padded his stats like he always does. At the end of every game that they're losing, LeBron James pads his stats. At the end of every game that they're winning, he gets off the court like stats aren't important. It is what it is. That's what he does. I don't hate LeBron James. I'm not a LeBron James hater. I'm not a Curry fan. I'm not a Curry hater. I'm telling you what I see. And it's not that I don't like the individual. I might just not like the mannerisms. Pretty sure LeBron James is a good man. I have no reason to believe that outside of basketball, he isn't a good individual. No reason to believe that. He's probably a really cool dude. He's probably spoiled. So he doesn't understand how important it is to have a coach that sees things differently than you see them. They fired David Blatt. And in the one game that they won in the series, they basically went back to the strategies that David Blatt were using last year. Also, Tristan Thompson has been beasting against the Warriors. Beasting. I don't even think he played 1 minute in the fourth quarter yesterday. I don't think he played 1 minute. Not 1 minute of that last game. I don't think he played 1 minute in the fourth quarter. He was beasting that game. Beasting. The Warriors don't have nobody that can handle Tristan Thompson. Don't get it confused. Festus Ezeli is not fast enough. The Warriors do not have anybody that can handle Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson was getting the ball and dribbled and then did a shot over Curry in the corner. Tristan Thompson was jumping out on Curry and telling the rest of the guys to get away. He got him. And then getting them. The Cleveland Cavaliers made a big mistake. They made two mistakes. They would still be in the finals right now if they didn't make these two mistakes. The first mistake they made, well, they made three mistakes because they should have never got Love. But I'm beyond Love, not talking about Love. He doesn't play defense, and he's terrible against the freaking Warriors. He's averaging like 8.8 points a game against the Warriors this year and averaging like 16.7 points against every other team. He's just terrible against the Warriors. The Warriors got his number. He can't play against them, period. But he's not why I'm saying this is one of their worst ideas or plans or things that they did. They should have never got J.R. Smith and Shumpert. Those guys are one player. Both of them together are one player. Why would you make that trade? J.R. Smith played the whole second half and still only shot 5 for 10. He's just shooting guard. Why the hell isn't this guy shooting? Why isn't he shooting? You want to know why? Because his basketball IQ is so small. He's such a low basketball IQ that he doesn't know how to score unless you give him the ball, let him work. He's not good at cutting. He doesn't know when to cut. So sometimes he cuts and he's just in the way. He doesn't know how to cut. So sometimes he's cutting in a manner that even if you try to pass him the ball, it's going to be an errant pass. His defense absolutely sucks. It's atrocious. If they wanted to call a foul every single time J.R. Smith's man got the ball, they can. And it'll be perfectly reasonable because he actually fouls that much. And when he isn't fouling, he's flopping. So it's like, whatever. So they should have not gotten J.R. Smith and Shump. That was just a bad pickup. Now, with that being said, and they were trying to make a trade, they could have went and tried to trade for Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford can't really play D, but Jamal Crawford is more consistent, scoring than both of those guys. And Jamal Crawford would be fucking murdering the Warriors right now. He would be murdering them. So they could have went and got Jamal Crawford and who did they trade? They didn't trade nothing. The Knicks just gave them away. So maybe they couldn't get Jamal Crawford because the Knicks just didn't want Shump and JR anymore. They just didn't want them. That wasn't gonna work. And it wasn't gonna work because those guys party too much. If you wanna what the Knicks need to do, the Knicks need to go get some people that got wives and a family and get those guys. People that's close with their moms, that's family-oriented players. That's not going to be out partying every night. You know what I'm saying? They need to stop selling players on that. That's how they getting players to come, I bet. I'm almost 100% sure that the majority of the players that they get to come here, one of the ways that they tell them that they could come here is you need to we got the clubs and everything. Y'all gonna be able to get in the clubs, and there's so many women, and this is New York City. There's a party going on all the time. There's a city that never sleeps, and that's the last thing some of these guys need. That's the last thing some of these guys need, and that's probably why some of the things happen that happen. That's the last thing some of these guys need. Some of these guys need to be not partying. J.R. Smith, He's not right already. Why is he partying? Shump, he cares more about his hair than anything else. Cut that shit off. What's wrong with you? In most of these videos, I do more talking about the Cavs than I do the Warriors. You want to know why? Because the Warriors just got it together. They're going to lose the next game, though, because the Cavs are going to play out of desperation. They're going to lose the next game. Cavs are going to blow it out. The Cavs are going to be winning in the first quarter, but they're going to blow it open in the second quarter. Remember I'm saying this because I'm constantly saying stuff like this in all of my videos. You go back, it's going to be close first quarter. Second quarter, Cavs is just going to blow it open. By the third quarter, the Warriors is going to mail it in. They're going to concede. Third quarter, Warriors are going to concede. Cavs are going to blow it open in the second quarter. Somebody random is going to show up and be scoring. Like Shump might have a good game. Or Delhi might be able to get some offense going. It's going to be some weird way. And it's probably going to be one of those games that Curry goes off and it's just nowhere near enough. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Curry is going to go off, and it's just not going to be nowhere near enough. Nobody else is going to give them anything. Anyway, this has been The Hardwood, and I will see you guys later.